Welcome to LoveLight-Sound Radio, aligning and consciously creating your life with host Suzanna Jamieson on Transformation Talk Radio. Follow Suzanna as she channels dynamic frequency encodings of sound and light that initiate clearing, activation, balancing, and alignment with a new vibration of well-being. Allow your higher vibrational self to unfold on Love Light Sound Radio. Transformation happens here now.
Yeah, boy, Suzanna and I am here with you today. I love what we're getting ready to talk about here. Suzanna Jamieson, if you don't know who she is, I'm going to have her talk about her work in a minute. I'm Dr. Pat. I'm joined, of course, by Mr. Benny. Hello, Benny.
What's up, Pat?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah.
Here
what's
we
so
go.
Funny? Whoa, what's so funny?
This is like we're talking about today. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Number 4 and number 5 shifts to acknowledging what hasn't brought resolution so far. OMG. Do we have like 5 hours to really get into this?
Because some of us need some resolutions.
So I don't even know. Suzanna, great to have you here. I mean, I got to say this again, and then I would love for you to talk about it, but also talk about it in the context of the work that you do to help people get to resolution. Acknowledge what hasn't brought resolution so far. Whoa.
Yeah, thank you for the lovely and very uplifting intro here. It's like, as you can tell, we've been having a blast up front before the show already.
Yeah.
So yes, of course, it's also about having fun. And at the same time, the subject, I don't want to make it dire, but it's rather, if acknowledge what hasn't brought resolution so far. And I do need to put this in the context of the 5 shifts, right? So we're here on number 4 of the 5 shifts. And so if you missed the prior ones, we do have recordings of the shows up. So you're welcome to listen to those. The first one is aligning and acknowledging your truth, and aligning with it. And then the second one is making you your top priority. And then 3 is the secret system, or coming home to yourself, how that is, different as an alternative system that is proven. And then 4, what I keep seeing in my work and with my clients, especially when they first come to see me, a lot of them have been doing all kinds of things for decades. Right. And there's nothing wrong with this. Everyone is on their path and, it's always perfect where you're at. And then at one point, maybe it's about the question, how long do I want to keep doing the same things that, maybe give me some amelioration, maybe some improvement here. There's a little bit of a shift, but not lasting transformation, so that I can actually step into my empowered self, that I know how to love myself, that I know what that looks and feels like actually, and that I can show up in my relationships empowered, coming from that sense of self-love, which is not selfish, just to be very clear, right? Shift number 1. But then, moving out of that, and what I'm seeing in my work is like, as you're healing that aspect and, stepping into that aspect, your purpose actually arises out of that organically. You don't have to search for your purpose. You don't have to ask for it. It's going to be shown to you. It's very clear. Pretty much each time I see this with my clients, it's amazing. So, today, it's mostly about acknowledging what hasn't brought resolution so far. And there's various aspects to this. Do you want to jump in there quick, Pat?
I want to jump in because, okay. So what I love about you and your work, and I hope later on you're going to give us a demonstration. Can I use myself as a little example?
Of course, please. I always love that. I love your
I found myself triggered here recently with the current events. So my friends are like, Pat, why is this the separation of children and parents so emotionally like for you? And I really had to give that some thought. I'm not a mother I didn't give birth. I raised my brother, but I had to look at this, and I remember something you said to me and a while ago. And what I tapped into, and oh boy, I hope I don't know if I can do this without crying.
Please don't hold back. No holding back, Pat.
What I
It's
tapped
totally
into
fine.
was this. When I was 6 years old, and I didn't know this about my mom. My mom was very, very sick as she medicated herself with alcohol and drugs because of my dad's continuous cheating on her. But my mother taught me about love. She was the most amazing. Anybody that you asked about my mom, they would tell you that love, just love and joy and vibrancy, all of that. One day she was there, and the next day I was taken away from her, and I was put at 6 years old, right, into a Catholic boarding school. And I was the only 6-year-old that stayed overnight in the boarding school. And so I'm seeing these images of these children in cages. And I was taken back to this moment of being in this dormitory, and then now compound that with my sister not able to pick me up on weekends, and the time I spent completely restricted, high discipline Dominican nuns. And I thought to myself, at least I was safe. At least I was safe. And I was so triggered by that emotionally. And I waited to today to talk with you about that, because I know this is the work you do. Mm-hmm. And even now, when I listen to that child crying, wow. Wow.
Yeah. And
when I listen to that child crying, that recording, and then what I heard was God. I thought, that is not a God that I knew to love. Mm. And so for me, we call it triggered. Mm. Let's just say my heart chakra opened up, because obviously there's still something in there. And this isn't about politics for me. This is not about politics. This is about heart-to-heart connection with children I don't even know. But isn't this what we're talking about? The resolution, the shifting of things like this.
Yeah, and I absolutely love the vulnerability, the way you show up here. So really thank you for this gift, because it is often that we do not want to go there, because it's just not cool to be showing emotions. It's just not cool to not be in control. And, we're costing ourselves in that, really. And we're actually harming ourselves by not acknowledging that and not allowing that to have space when it needs to have space. So thank you for being a model in that, Pat. And in my experience, there's different layers to what you're sharing right now. There's one aspect of the trigger where that the trigger gets you into a fear state, and then you're in reactive mode or freeze mode or fight or flight, some kind of fear reactive mode, survival mode, which disconnects you. That is a trigger that is not conducive, and that through the healing I provide is being taken care of. Now, at the same time, are you always going to be connected to this experience? Yes. However, the transformation that I'm seeing is you will have the connection to the event and seeing it as a means to connect first of all, with yourself and also with others who might be going or experiencing similar situations. And that's where your heart is opening. Because you're going into, in a way, projecting your pain and suffering at the time on, these children. So you can empathize, and you'd much rather they don't have to go through this, So as you're healing, it's about you opening your heart and, connecting with these children and wanting to hold space for them and help them heal. Right? But in that moment, you're actually coming from love. You're not coming from fear anymore. So that requires that you heal the hurt, because if, as long as you're stuck in the hurt, there is not much awareness or availability to be there for others. That's the thing. And you might be called to do this kind of work or not. Actively or passively, or just support it in any way, shape, or form. There's various ways, but I love what you're finding there for yourself.
Well, let me just tell you what I did, and then we'll talk about it when we come back, because there is, in this topic today and the work that you do, the reason we want to bring a resolution, the shift, the reason we want to do this is because it allows us to take action. Mm-hmm. See, the antithesis of action is immobility and stuckness. Mm-hmm. And we have an epidemic of stuckness. And all you need to do is Google it, right? My first Google of it was in 2003 when I was the whole crust busting thing. And then I've been watching how many more Googlings of stuckness there is. But here's the thing. When I discovered this was a thing for me, and it was over 2 weeks ago, I don't watch a lot of the news, but I was listening to a pastor in Texas talking about how wonderful it was that these kids were getting spiritual something in church on Sunday, right? At least they were able to continue their own spiritual practice and connection. And this is 2 weeks ago. And out of his mouth, he just kind of like, oh, yeah, but you know what? The girls didn't show up today. And then he continued to talk about how great these services were. And then he says, yeah, not sure where the girls were. That was it for me. I stopped. I created an image. And we can't prove this because I'm not very good at social media. But immediately sent a message to a number of people, Chuck Schumer, blah, 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 Hillary Clinton, anybody I could, hashtag, where are the girls? Mm-hmm. That was what I did. Now, clearly, where are the girls is everywhere. Mm-hmm. But I thought about this and I went and I looked. There were no pictures of the girls. Nothing. I tried to reach this pastor. So how is it that a resolution allows us to step forward in consciousness, to take action as our heart and our mind come together? That's the work you do. Let's take a short break. When we come back, why is the intellectual knowledge, self-help books not bringing lasting transformation resolution? Why is that? Because I didn't recall having a self-help book come up in the process, but I did recall you. Let's take a short break. Suzanna Jamieson, 1-800-930-2819. We'd like to hear from you. What is touching your heart today? We'll be right back. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Listen, I'm so thrilled to have Suzanna Jamieson joining me here today. Her work is so profoundly shifting for us. And I was telling her during the break that, 2 weeks ago, when I had the moment and realized that the girls were missing, it hit me so hard. I started to post on social media. I created an image. I think one of my Twitter accounts was suspended from something that I don't even know I did. But the point is this. I felt free. And Suzanna, you're going to talk about that. But before we do, how can we find out more about you? And then also, I know we've got some things that you're giving away, and also you have a free workshop. So can you tell us how folks can tap into that?
Okay. Yeah, of course. Love to. And I actually love that you took action there. It's not for everyone. And, when you, each one who's listening in, what in your heart when you're feeling called to take action, you know how to follow that. And part of the work I'm doing is also around trusting your inner voice, that you actually take that action when that inner voice comes, because sometimes it's there and then we're like, oh yeah, can I really do this? Should I not rather, or maybe it's not for me, or, that takes courage, or yada, yada, in a dialogue. So, and we can get into this a bit more. What you're mentioning, yes, I do have a few things coming up right now. I mean, in general, you're welcome to learn more about my work on my website, SuzannaJamieson.com, SuzannaJamieson.com. I do have a free workshop gift there for you that gives you a bit more of a background information around my work and also resonates with you what I'm offering. And then I have right now, just very like yesterday posted, I'm doing a live weekend intensive in September. And if you can make it, I highly recommend you join. It's a very limited participants only. It's a very private environment. It's called True Intimacy. And that's what it really is, true intimacy, first of all, with yourself, connected here, and then with others, and also your intimate partner. So there's some exploration there also. So it's not for the faint of heart, to put it mildly. And, active participation is required just to, and there's more on the website too. Also, my first CD is up now available, also on my website, on the store in Transform With Me. You can check it out. And I think that's it, right? Did I have anything else I wanted to add to this? My book, obviously. Oh, yeah, I'm actually have the finishing touches on the e-course True Forgiveness, which accompanies my book, because it's in a way ties into our subject today. It's all wonderful with the self-help books. I mean, yes, I love my book. And I have clients tell me like, yes, it's really helpful. And like with every book, I mean, I'm under no illusion that it would be different with mine. It's like, yes, if you read it, then it ends up on the shelf. No one is doing the exercises. So the course is actually designed to move you through the book and make sure that you're actually doing the exercises that you can integrate them. So it's super affordable. But basically, it is your chance to freedom, setting you free, setting yourself free from shame, blame, guilt. It's priceless. It's absolutely priceless. And the way I've designed is that it's set up that you can use the specific tools over and over again. It's very simple. It's very accessible. And again, it's your ticket to freedom right there. Anywhere, shame, blame, guilt, right there. So.
Well, I think what I want to say to you is there's these beautiful meditations that you do, this beautiful movement of energy, this sound and light, the way that you help have things, my language, dissipate, break up, so to speak, and then float away. This is my experience of your work. And so as part of that, as I got this insight, what I thought about was something you said. And the sounds of silence are deafening. They are deafening. When we are silent and for whatever reason, right, they're deafening. So what I did with the image, and then I sent it to a bunch of people, and, I hashtag where are the girls? I called it The Sounds of Silence. And it was a picture of one of the early pictures of a child. I don't even know where I got it from. That's probably why my account was suspended, because I don't know where I got it from. But that act, I found like something healed, right? Can you talk for a little bit about what this means now, right? This intellectual knowledge we have, this self-help, not bringing lifelong transformation, because I've read a lot of books. Let's talk about what that is and what does bring transformation. And I think Benny and Rob, we're going to skip the next break. Suzanna, what does work?
Yeah. So first of all, to the point why the self-help alone doesn't do the trick. Obviously, it's going to create some awareness or bring knowledge, information on an intellectual level around a certain subject. It's like, say, people, that has been over the past years more prominent, this whole thing about narcissists, for example. Now everyone knows, yes, I've been in there has been narcissistic abuse, and I've been a victim of a narcissist. Now, personally, I don't really resonate with this kind of labeling, or any kind of labeling per se, like be it disease diagnosis or whatever, or I'm bipolar, or what does that mean? ADHD, what does that mean? It just means your nervous system is upset, basically, and can be at times more than others. That doesn't define you as a person. And also, like, the whole thing with creating labels around narcissists, victimizing basically what it does, it keeps you in that perspective of, oh, they did this to me.
Yes.
I was kind of exposed to this abuse, so poor me, right? And I'm not saying this is conscious, but just notice where it's limiting you in your empowerment, like where you're giving your power away in that. And I'm not saying that you weren't abused. Yes, you were. But just notice that at any point you had the choice to leave. It's like what I'm talking about, since it's obvious, since it's apparently about, own experiences. Like when I was in my early 20s or early mid 20s, married to an alcoholic, I would actually lock myself in the kitchen to not be, raped or beaten. So, when I'm talking here today, I'm not talking because I've kind of studied psychology for a few years and kind of know the theory stuff. I've been through it. Whatever my work is informed through my own experience and through my own healing. It's not made up or some kind of theory. And the thing is, though, what kept me in that relationship, that in my mind, I thought, he's, because he told me so, like, he's the only one who's ever gonna love me like this.
Yeah.
And that made me put up with this crap.
Right.
Now, did I have a choice to leave? Yeah. Every second. I mean, I was taking care of both of us. Financially, that wasn't an issue, right? I could have left right there. It took to, him choking me for me to draw the line.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. There comes this thing that we call a tipping point.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
In your case, that was the experience of being choked. In my case, as a 6-year-old, it was not only being in this place and not being able to leave, but not being able to do very much else, especially on weekends. And because I cried at night, I was beaten with an iron brush by one of the nuns. Mm-hmm. And when I told my dad's girlfriend, soon to be my stepmom, I'll never forget this. She was like 25 years younger. She didn't miss a beat. See, she didn't have anything to lose. She wasn't Catholic. She was Baptist. And she believed me. And I think that what we're doing and how things get resolved isn't always by what anybody else says or by blaming, because anything around blame in my life, blame, shame, has kept me stuck. But sometimes it's so energetically heavy that we need things like your work to help move it along. Otherwise, we think we're doing it in our heads, right? We can think our way through healing.
There is an aspect of that, and thank you for bringing this up and into the conversation, Pat. It is a fully integrated approach of all of you. We're not only mind, we're also, emotional body, we're physical body, we're spiritual body. So they're not separate, and we have to honor all of these aspects for healing. And they all have to be integrated, which means not just, as we touched on earlier, intellectually understood, if at all understood, but there's some kind of explanation. Oh, okay, that makes sense. And then, what you also have to take into account, Pat, in our fast-paced days, right? Our lives are so tacted through. It's like everything's so fast-paced. It's like, oh, gotta check, oh, gotta check. No time to really be with the information or take it in or really let it sink in, And so that is a huge part of my work, where it's coming in with the accountability, putting things into perspective for my clients, mentoring them through the rough spots and not, because it's just very challenging to do this by yourself. There's no question around it, plus, just because something has been done a certain way for decades doesn't mean that it's efficient. And it also doesn't mean that it still meets us where we are in our evolution today. We've evolved quite a bit over the past 10, 20, 30 years. And so to still deal with a certain way of therapy, it's just, and
surface. It stays on the surface. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of getting temporary relief for some kind of pain.
Yeah,
right?
But
it doesn't get at the root. You can go take some kind of pill and it will give you temporary relief, and you'll have the illusion that what you just did is really getting at long-lasting change and healing, and it's not. But sometimes in life we do have to get temporary relief at some point until it doesn't work any longer.
Right? Yeah, and love that differentiation also, Pat. Obviously there are places or times for certain things to be alleviated. Let's just to kind of take the edge off or whatever. So that's what I mean. And we've talked about this in other shifts before in terms of, when you have like meditation practices or breathing practices or tools, for example, if you are dealing with anxiety that bring you in the moment, that, help you take the edge off so that you're not kind of keep hyperventilating or whatever when you're on the road. It's like, just really take the edge off. The thing is, though, yes, they're going to help you in the moment, but they're not addressing the origin. As you said, they're not addressing the root cause. Once you've dealt with the root cause, this is actually not going to come up anymore. Right. And that for some people is, the way we're treated with school medicine today. That's just not how this works. It's like, oh, you have a symptom, take this, and then you have like, and by the way, if you take this, that can cause this kind of thing. But we have this medication that's going to help with the side effects of that one. And then I have a third medication that's going to prevent the side effects of the second one, and so on. And next thing you know, your liver is screwed up. Your whole system is screwed up because of all the stuff you're taking, and nothing is healed, right? Or I have like people who are on several antidepressants and antipsychotics, and basically they're being tested, is my experience, because the person, like the psychiatrist or, person at the other end, they don't really know what's working or not anymore. It's like they can also, and please hear me, I'm not coming from, of course, they're having the good intention to do, with the knowledge they have, they want to help you, obviously, right? At the same time, everyone is different. And since they're not addressing the origin, they can only go with your response, your physical response to something. And your body is saying, I don't need this stuff. That's not helping, right? So you're like on 6 antidepressants and you're still depressed. Seriously, Pat, how much sense does that make?
It doesn't, because, in the end, and I'll go back to this, we have an epidemic of stuckness. And, at the same time, this affects our body, it affects our soul. And, the work that you do and helping people move beyond this, and the range of scenarios that folks have that work with you. I mean, there's a wide range. Let's talk about that for a minute, if we could, because we started to talk about today's show, which has to do with 4th and 5th shifts, right? Acknowledge what hasn't brought resolution so far. Yeah. But I don't know that folks really know the depth and the breadth of what people come to you for. Can we talk about that for a little bit? Because
sure.
It could be like smaller, but it's kind of all inclusive, right?
It really is, because, yes, we're talking about, in our particular situation, about childhood trauma, and that can have varying degrees. And it doesn't even only have to be childhood trauma. It's just, as we talked on the other show the other day, it's like losing your job can be tremendously traumatic, or just being put in a situation that is unknown to you, where you don't know what to do with this. Various scenarios. Like, also, it depends on the degree of sensitivity in a person. Let's say how much they're affected by a certain situation. Some, bounce back more easily than others. And so for some, like just a situation of neglect can have a huge traumatic experience, right? And for others, it's like we're really looking at heavy duty mental, emotional, and physical abuse as children. I mean, some of what I'm having in my work is, it's really hard to believe. It's heart-wrecking to just be with this. And at the same time, trauma is trauma. What the impact of what happened to you, and the stuckness, as you're saying, Pat, comes, in my experience, from what we are taking away from this. It's like something happened to us, or someone did something to us, and that means, like, we're taking that away to mean something about us. Like, I'm not worthy. I'm a burden. I'm not lovable. I'm not acceptable. I'm too much to deal with. People don't love me. I don't matter. That's a big one. And it's devastating. Like, if you have running, I don't matter. Talk about self-worth, any kind of positive affirmation you're trying, just chuck it, right there. As long as this is running, not gonna work. You can mantra yourself out the wazoo, honestly. And I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying until this isn't resolved, right, that it's, nice trial.
Yeah.
I'm being sarcastic here, I know, but it's just.
No, it's true. And then we end up like getting into relationships and not being able to stay committed, or getting into relationships. And I'm not just talking about love relationships. My research has to do with broken promises and betrayal in the workplace as one part of it. Huge. And so huge. And we don't know that we take this stuff, this unresolved stuff, and the workplace becomes this playground for us to do some really bizarro things. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, and by the way, we're taking your calls and we're taking your questions, whether you're watching on Facebook Live or you want to send us a question at Transformation Talk Radio, or perhaps you want to give us a call. This is something that you are stuck in right now and would love some firsthand help from Suzanna. 1-800-930-2819. When we come back, we're going to be talking about this now: success, relief, resolution. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back. Absolutely. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dr. Pat. I'm joined by Suzanna Jamieson. So for me, go ahead and check out the drpatshow.com, also transformationtalkradio.com. And then, for Suzanna, we're going to give you lots of information on if you'd like to work with her directly to really resolve some things that you've been carrying on with you. We're going to make sure you have that information, but there's also a free workshop special. Suzanna, what's the best way for people to work with you and then find out more about the workshop?
Yeah, so thanks for that, Pat. So the best way to work with me is to go to my website, and either you can, book a complimentary appointment with me to just see if we're a good fit to work together. Ideally, I would recommend that you check out the free workshop. It's also, complimentary and gives you a better idea of the way I approach my work and how I work with my clients. And, that gives you an idea if you resonate with it already, and if you're clear, like just from the show, yep, great resonance, let's go for it, And it's no obligation whatsoever. It's just an exploration of where are you at? What are you looking, what are you looking to resolving? What's not working in your life? What are you looking for in terms of results? Can I get you there? And if yes, I'll let you know what that would look like. And if not, I usually recommend something or someone that I feel would be the most conducive next step for you to take in your particular situation. Since I don't, stand for that I'm the only option out there. So, I'm looking for what works for you best in your situation. That's really what it is about. So nothing to lose, everything to win. So that's where I'm coming from. There's also my just brand new put up workshop, live weekend workshop, and that gives you a very good idea on what my work is about. It's really comprehensive with a lot of practical application and integration exercises, because this is exactly what my work is about. It's not just reading something, but it is about you actually doing it, like applying it, making it yours, right? Because we do want to have lasting transformation for life, right? I do want my clients to be free, like ASAP. I don't want them dependent on me. I love working with my clients, but I want them free. That's where I'm coming from. Right. So anyway, I just wanted to touch briefly on when you closed on the last segment, Pat. With the things like also we're in, like at work, we can potentially attract these situations now. Yeah. In my experience, it doesn't really matter where. It could be the mom at the, at the kindergarten, or the mom at the preschool, or, or your supervisor, wherever. It could be the person at a volunteer job, whoever that is, your loved one, your parents, anyone. Basically, what you're attracting in your life as experiences is a mirror to where you're at energetically. This is what needs to be understood. So when you're saying like, oh, these people are doing this to me, then, no one is ever doing anything to you. It's not possible. It's like there's two to the game, like who's allowing the other to do that? Meaning, where are you not setting boundaries? And that might be looking at shifting, some of your relationships. Yeah. Potentially, just saying, but the thing is like to kind of, I'm a victim, or I'm a survivor, and, that keeps you in, I'm that identity. And it might feel comfortable to have a group of people who are on the same level, kind of agreeing with you, right? That might give you a sense of comfort. The invitation to just notice if there might be a tad of disempowerment in there. Right. And basically you're looking on the outside for something to complete you, for something or someone to make you feel comfortable, for someone or something outside of you to make you feel safe. When what it really is about is coming home to yourself to an extent that you feel safe, you feel cherished, you feel loved, no matter what or how anyone else around you is showing up, or no matter what happens in your life. That is true empowerment. Does that mean you're going to be completely selfish and not care about anyone anymore? To the contrary, right?
Yeah.
When you're really connected with your heart, you're so wide open, you can't help but want to help others. It's not possible,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. And what's part of this too is, we have such incredible ability to move things forward. When I think about us as human beings and spiritual beings, and I think about our capabilities, not only to be able to absorb this trauma, but to then have the vehicle, right, to move it along. It's simply for me sometimes just knowing how to do it. Or in my case, I seek others to help me because I don't see myself very well a lot of the time. Right?
Well, yeah, there's the thing with the blind spots, right?
Yeah.
I think we all have them, no way around
Yeah.
it. And again, in that, like, everyone around us is, no matter how they show up in any moment, is a gift, right? Because the way they show up with us creates an opportunity for us to actually understand what we're giving out. They can enlighten us to our blind spots. If someone shows up abusive and I'm buying into it, it can show me where I'm not setting boundaries, where I'm pretending I'm okay with something that I'm not, right? And actually in my Facebook group right now, I have a challenge running about pretending. It's like, as you mentioned, with, awareness, like a lot of the time we're just, unaware of what's going on. And it's just eye-opening. And is it fun to look at? No. But if you just for yourself, just check in right now, like throughout a day, how often do you pretend being okay with something that you're not? You just put up with it. And it's like kind of, yeah, okay, because if you don't, then there's the fears, are they going to like me? Are they going to reject me? Am I still going to be part of this? It's huge.
Right.
What's, yeah, what ties into that. So, yeah.
Well, let's talk for a little bit about, I want to talk about success because that's a word we use in our culture. It's really important. And sometimes we think that this is a lifelong trauma we have to carry with us. We don't understand that there could be success and resolution.
Right.
And I want to ask you about the folks that you've worked with, what some of the ranges are. What do folks call you and say, Suzanna, can you help me with blank?
Yeah, love the question, Pat. And it's basically, it's all ranges. There's no gender bias, there's no age kind of restriction or limitation or, whatever. It's really the underlying notion that is there, or that kind of like a thread, you could say, it's usually what I find. Yes, I mean, there's hardly anyone who hasn't been traumatized to some point, to some extent, no matter what range that has. But basically, it's about looking at where people are still carrying these self-sabotaging beliefs and concepts about themselves and patterns that make them attract unhealthy relationships, that make them not show up at work and ask for that raise, not be confident, not be empowered, not be taking care of themselves, overgiving, self-sacrificing, exhaustion, burnout, not being able to set healthy boundaries, also no honest communication in their intimate relationship. Like no open communication around intimacy, sexuality. I mean, it can, it can take all the way. Each time where we kind of contract or have a tendency to contract because we're afraid to get hurt. This is what this is about. It's like, can you still be loving in the face,
right,
without taking abuse? I can care about you, and it doesn't mean I have to be your doormat.
right.
I can love you and I can walk away from you. That's kind of a strange concept because people think that, it's like, I'm going to give up on them. No, you're not giving up on you. That's what's really happening.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I love you, and it doesn't mean I have to take your abuse.
Exactly.
Because that's not kind to me. The thing is, like, there's this huge concept about kindness versus, towards humanity, or you have to love humanity or whatever. Well, you're part of it. Hello?
Yeah. Yeah. And what's so cool about this is I don't know about the folks you've worked with, but my own experience is when I had that moment where I took action, something changed and shifted in me. Um, and I don't know how to explain that, but let's just call it energy. And I think that's what's so beautiful about the work you do. People can feel it, not a year from now, but they can feel it, right?
I usually have, like, my clients usually, I mean, on our initial session, there's a shift because I bring healing frequencies into any interaction, any calls we're having, any group sessions we're having, or, whatever that is. But, the transformation happens through my client being open to transformation and applying themselves to the practices. Because, let's be really clear about it. It takes your stepping up for your own healing. It's not someone else going to do it for me. Yes, there's a huge support. That's why I'm seeing so fast results through the energy work I provide. And there is you in the equation, a certain part of that I'm not going to do for you.
Right.
And I wouldn't want to, even if I could, because it denies you out of the integration. It denies you the process. It denies you the experience. I would be blanking out your integration. And that's not conducive. And that's also not why you're here to begin with. Right?
Wow.
Wow.
I can't thank you enough for today. And I want to ask you one last question, what your personal message is. And again, how can people schedule time with you? What's your personal message, Suzanna? Thank you so much for all that you do.
Yeah. If you are feeling called to transform your life, make it happen. Do whatever it takes, make it happen. Don't wait. I mean, usually if you resonate with the kind of topics we're covering here, there is a reason for that. And there's something in you that needs to be shifted. And, even if it's not with me, but find someone you resonate with, get the support you need, and get onto it. You like having a completely new life from this day forward has a very different quality. And it is going to empower you to actually give your true gift in this lifetime that you're withholding from us at this point.
Awesome.
You're cheating us out of you if you don't.
I can't thank you enough. Thank you so very much, Suzanna Jamieson, everyone. Also, I want you to know that if you want to find out more about us, please go ahead and check us out at the Dr. Pat Show, Transformation Talk Radio. Suzanna, thank you so very much.
Thanks, dear.
Benny, thank you for pushing all the right buttons as you usually do. And Rob, you as well. We're going to take a short break, everyone. We got another hour coming up here on the Dr. Pat Show. We'll be right back.
You've been listening to Love, Light, Sound Radio with Suzanna Jamieson on Transformation Talk Radio. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you'll join us next month as Suzanna explores how to align, balance, and consciously create your life. For more information on Suzanna Jamieson and her work, or to listen to past shows, visit her website at SuzannaJamieson.com.